June 2nd, Napoleon and Davout catch Charles and Hiller, respectively. There's rain, so it's harder to get away. They're able to sneak in there. We'll see how this works out. Charles still has a big force and affecting terrain, and Hiller has affecting terrain, not as big a force, but just curious what we're going to come out of this. The Austrians were basically unable to move any of their forces at all. This battle was a quick little two-rounder, not one-rounder, where the Austrians just retreated. Against Charles, though, this was a big one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds, alternating who's doing pitch to get its close battle. What do we have? 4, 5, 6, 7, 12, 13, 14, 20, 25 hits to the French. 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 24. It's actually 24 for the French because they took a withdrawal and only took 3 casualties because Charles didn't catch. It is not a critical battle because, again, it was the same casualty rate. The nice thing about this is we're mauling these armies so much that, the game becomes a lot simpler in terms of you just want to gather together your forces under one commander and try to swing through. There's no real need to spread your forces out. There's no real capability of it. Although it may become a little more interesting because you're not limited by that 48 limit anymore. You're limited by, although we had that here, the French had exactly 48. You're limited instead by where you want to apply your force. You're not, oh yeah, let's put our maximum force here and have a secondary party here. Now it's kind of, Napoleon lost half his force, He's about the same size as Davout, and there aren't reinforcements. There are more coming in, and then there's the Pressburg reinforcements, which are kind of weird. If the Austrians come in, the French have more options, and I don't know if they're able to come in earlier as well. The way it's worded is a little weird, and I haven't been able to discern which way that goes. But anyway, that would have been the French move. And that was quite a hefty, running a battle like this out. That took 10, 15 minutes on its own, which is fine, It's like La Grande Guerre. It's like some other games. When you have the Europa Universalis battles. Battles are not common here, although I make them much, much more common than they were historically, I think. Not at the beginning. I avoided fighting at the beginning, but now I'm just in my normal must kill, which is not the intent of this game. But one thing that I like about it better than, say, Stonewall Jackson's way is, in Stonewall Jackson's way, attacking just doesn't work, And it makes sense due to the time period. American Civil War, the rifle is the sort of ultimate weapon, which means that defensive positions tended to kind of stand better, going to its extreme with the machine gun emplacements in World War I and everything. Here, you've got the Napoleonic era where the attack is actually an effective strategy in general, which means that there's reason to try to bring your enemy to battle. Now, the way it switches back and forth and everything, you're better off defending by the chart. There's no question of that, but it's not the kind of advantage that you see in the great campaigns in the American Civil War. It's the fact that it switches back and forth, that the other player has to attack, takes away that defensive advantage so that he knows, hey, if I stick around, I'm going to make you attack me at not particularly good odds. Now, the odds were worse for Charles. He kind of outrolled Napoleon. All right, let's see what the Austrians are going to do to try to form a line somewhere or something. I mean, it's hard to tell because with Budweis as my supply source, I can't really let that get taken unless I'm going to have a lot of time falling back and not under attack, and that doesn't seem very likely with all those French action points. They can just pursue the shit out of me if they want. But on the other hand, defending Budweis and the Danube seems pretty difficult. Could we fall back on Budweis and say screw Vienna and see what Napoleon does? I mean, Napoleon doesn't have the troops to like garrison the southern Danube entirely, but do the Austrians, and just, forget about Budweis, but do the Austrians have the capacity to prevent maybe, they're not going to really have the capacity to completely interdict the road network, so how are they going to prevent Napoleon from just sailing up here with his command center and, operating near Vienna and grabbing those 2 extra victory points and getting a pretty much guaranteed victory? So I feel like the Austrians do have to try to stop the French or prevent them to getting to Vienna, which may mean Budweis can't be defended, but it may mean splitting my forces and see what the French do. And the Austrians spend lots and lots of action points to get everything moving. Charles is going in to attack Linz. Collerat blew the bridge, doing the Austrian thing. Louis made it up to Enns. Hiller, a couple of action points to get him here, splitting the force, running at normal speed, about 5 pexes or 5 movement points instead of otherwise. Biggie was Davout was unable to move. I was going to try to put more pressure coming down this way. That's not going to happen. Not yet. What about the attack on Laon? Well, obviously Laon's got the nice advantage of a defensive location. I don't know how big his force is. Well, actually I do, but Charles doesn't. And it turns out it's pretty damn big. It's like 16 strength points, which with the built-in fortification is going to bring them up to 36. So that's not going to go above 1-to-1 affecting. We'll see whether or not Charles takes this more than one round. Really, he wanted the speedy road more than anything else. He's willing to abandon Linz. He just wanted to be able to move fast, so he'll probably just go one round. Does he want to do a pursuit battle if he loses, which will allow him to kind of withdraw a little bit quicker than he would otherwise, maybe. Sounds interesting. Ended up terrible. Charles had less troops than I thought. He had around 25 points. His artillery didn't work. Laon ends up pursuing him 6 hexes. Now, 1, it isn't a 7-point damage. It's only a 6-point damage. But 2, hey, I put Collerat in danger. 2, it only went 1 round. It wasn't a pitched battle because Laon ended up winning. Now, he would have said, okay, I stand. Do you want to come in again? But at least that's the way I kind of look at it. Some of the suburbs or whatever are where the fighting actually was, which doesn't really make sense. You should be able to kind of bypass something like this. You wouldn't have to actually assault the city to push your way through on a road on the other side of the river. But that's... Actually, I didn't even have to attack. Oops. I would not have attacked, I'm pretty sure. I didn't really want that fight, so I'm going to rewind that. I forgot about the effect of bridges to prevent that, and I'll give the strength points back. On the Austrian side of the turn, spending points again, and we're burning our way down pretty hard. Yeah, we're at 22. So we're still in the good area, barely. And good being the second column here. We're right at the edge of it. Charles was unable to disengage yet again, and now he's forced to attack, and worse, because he's in a zone. Davout was able to come up close. Charles is in a lot of trouble. Bessier able to come forward as well. Moved Rosenberg to taking command here. Give me a little bit more flexibility to get out of there, shifting these forces around, but it looks pretty damn bad for Charles right here. I don't know what his strength is like. I think I've consolidated everything with him. I couldn't add reinforcements to him, even though we got a pile of Austrian reinforcements that came in this turn, points that we could do, because he was in a zone of control. I could have thrown them into some of these other forces. I chose not to for various reasons. In part because when you assign reinforcements, that means they're going to beef up your forces, great, but they also can increase your attrition. But I also wanted the flexibility of, hey, if I can get Charles out of here, good things happen, but it wasn't the case, and now he's surrounded, he has to attack both. Charles ended up losing 6 points on a 10 hex retreat. No zone of control through here, so shot away. Both sides took a pursuit battle choice because the French weren't really sure what they were facing. They should have known, but they weren't sure. And they were worried because if they had to make an attack, they'd have to choose between Laon and Davout. Neither side was terribly strong on the offensive. So here we had 15 under Laon. Davout had only 11. Turned out we were facing 25, but Charles 25 was facing 55 total defense between the two, which was just horrible. And I mean, that's the thing. Charles might have won it. I gave him a 1/3 chance of deciding he would go for the pitched battle, because I was aware that this was a problematic situation actually for the French. That would end up, though, in a dangerous position, which is the normal pursuit battle back and forth, the pitch battle back and forth with whoever's attacking probably losing, and troops just draining away. And honestly, let's see. The French have some more troops coming in here. But I don't think they have any significant numbers otherwise, so I don't know. They have the Pressburg reinforcements. That's probably their big numbers. And that's something else. Those come off the east end of the map, and the Austrians probably want to delay them, but I have to look at the rules for them. They're quite a ways off, so we can hold off. Napoleon did not manage to chase, even though Bessier gained some ground there. Things are looking pretty damn bleak for the Austrians, but still, Viennese morale is at 0. Of course, if we get to Vienna, all the way over here, that's 2 victory points, essentially, that the French can gain, assuming that they can take it. Whereas, if we never get there, well, I don't know. I mean, I guess the Austrians get something of a moral victory out of that, but I don't see how they're going to slow the French down anymore, except for the fact that we have a lot of strength points right now coming in as reinforcements that the French do not. And as long as we don't lose a critical battle or another leader, morale doesn't go negative, which means we get to keep our landwehr, and a fair amount of our force is still built up in landwehr troops. So that's kind of cool. This whole situation goes back to Charles's ill-advised march out that beat Napoleon, sort of, in a bloody battle. Laon was able to grab Linz, and from there on, this has really degenerated very, very badly for the Austrians. That right now seems to be the key moment in this game. Had I not done that, had I continued my falling back defensive strategy, maybe I'd be able to play this out longer in terms of keeping the French from being able to just dominate me. I mean, as it is, they're able to throw, a major force against one of my sections and just bust it. However, with Charles up here and Hiller up here, I'm beginning to think I kind of have to go deal with the Bud Weiss. I have to go up to the north. That may slow things down a little bit. Not sure how weak Rosenberg and Richemont are. They're not very good, but I mean, I can kind of probe them and see, but that would endanger my supply lines possibly. If I find out that they're stronger than I think, they find out that I'm weaker than they think and come surging back. Davout on his own is not enough to fight this battle. I'm going to need to shift forces. What forces, I'm not sure. The obvious would be to send what's here forward and bring Napoleon up to Linz and try to hold things there. And then try to push the Austrians into a position where, they don't have any action points left. And just keep going forward that way. And that winds up the 5th of June. A complicated situation opening up here on the 6th of June. Napoleon's napping. I don't know what's going on. He's missed a lot of activations. I just can't spend a point on a 5-point leader. I did spend a point on Lannes, which I usually wouldn't, but I'm getting pretty close to 90, which is obscene. And he moved up to face Richem here, and I brought Davout down. I was thinking about sending Davout up this way, but I'm like, you know what, why don't I try to clear out the Austrians down here? And then I can worry about sending a smaller force towards Vienna and a larger force to deal with Charles. Well, Charles did a long march. It took 3 casualties for it. We're talking about a 5-point march, basically. It was less than 5 movement points, but 3 got him to like here or something. I don't know. I think here, actually. But in this way, he diverts Davout and forces Lannes and Richem to fight their own battle instead of this gang up on Richem. This is going to cost me, though. I mean, not just those casualties, but I'm probably not. I still probably don't have parity. But there's the worry that Richem would just be destroyed if I didn't come down and try to take some of the pressure off. And bad things happened. Richem, that only went 1 round. 28 to 11. I was lucky to get out of there. I didn't record the losses, but it wasn't much. It was this pursuit, 1, 2, 3, 4 hexes. Bessier went on his own. So he had the higher command rating. For some reason I had Lannes in charge, which was kind of a mistake. If Bessier had been in charge, the whole force could go. But that gives me flexibility with Lannes to defend on either side. Davout just basically beat the crap out of Charles. It started off, hey, kind of even. Okay, we'll stick around. Oops. Terrible die roll on Charles attacking, and he picked a pitched battle. So anyway, this ended up being a critical battle, actually. Not this guy replaced. The retreat was 5. I wrote a 3 over for losses. 9, 10, 11 to 4. That's 7. That's an automatic critical battle. That drops this. Oh look, the French are going to win. It's just how much. And that means if there were any southern landwehr left, because at least 3 cities in the south have gone over, they would get decimated by 75%. Luckily for Austria, they've lost all those already, but they still have northern ones. It's harder to find northern cities, though. There aren't that many. There's this one and this one. Those are kind of out of reach. There's a few up here. And then obviously, as we get near Vienna, things get more crowded up there as well. but that northern landwehr is more likely to survive for quite some time. Right. I think this is largely the end. And I really feel like it was one mistake, or maybe two mistakes, because even coming out at all was a problem. But certainly pursuing Napoleon was for the second combat, was not a good idea. And it's just got the Austrians really vaporizing. The only thing going for them is I think the French added their strength points already. The Austrians haven't added theirs. They still have like 10 strength points I could throw somewhere. But I'm having a hell of a time. There's not a lot covering this way. I'm going to have to put distance between my troops and try to make Napoleon decide, is he going to split his troops, and what is their troop allocation, or is he going to pursue one and then the other? And I don't know. I feel like the French have enough troops. It's just Napoleon's sitting back here having some kind of bitchy mood. Moving to the 8th of June, Charles, Liechtenstein's just running out on his own. Charles decides to divert towards Vienna, leaving Hiller to defend in this direction. Rosenberg, out of supply, trying to find a way. Risham probably getting out of supply too. I don't know how long I can hold Budweis, but whatever. I'm moving my supply headquarters. I cheated. The French headquarters could not move. We're not in supply. It wasn't their turn. But the French actually managed some pursuit movement. Got Bessier charging after Richemont. Here, Napoleon finally got his act together. Davout going up to the north. My feeling is pushing towards Vienna is the more important, so I'm sending a larger force there. I'm not even sure that I want to engage Hiller. I don't know what he has. Like, I take Charles on. I know he's beaten up, but I got to cover him. And I do want to move my headquarters here very soon because I'm outrunning my supply line. In fact, I may have already. I already have. Uh-oh. Well, this one might be different, but that means I gotta worry about these guys. So I may not have moved them. I have to unwind their movement. I didn't realize I was running out of supply. I think I am gonna move this. I'm gonna say I moved it during my turn. I was a little distracted, and I certainly would have. It was obvious that I was falling out of supply, so, I would have moved here. Linz is protected even with this guy here. So we'll go with that. It's a little bit of a cheat, but yeah. Mornings are tough on me because I get caught up dealing with the emails before I start working and stuff. For the French side of this turn, which is, the 8th of June. I spent points on Bessier and Lannes here, and on Napoleon to make sure he covers ends so that nothing strange happens. I didn't spend on Davout. He didn't advance. Austrians, Liechtenstein doesn't count, but Charles ran away. Risham was unable to run away. He got caught. This time I was wise enough to put Bessier on top, but he still only got a 1 hex pursuit. There's 2 losses on each. The Battle of Isseldorf, Ispersdorf. Okay. That brings us over to the Austrian side of things. And we may actually be getting. No. Rosenberg is the problem. He's the guy I got to get in command, and He's got problems, that's all. Passing through the Austrian turn, not much happened. I managed to move some of my units, but not many because the command post wasn't active, and I kept moving it, so it won't be active this turn either. The French pay and not here, and launch attacks everywhere. And we're just trying to wipe out the Austrian army, you know? Also, I got these guys going down and clearing the bridge. This could well be pretty much over. I may play it out to the bitter end anyway, because there's the can't remember the Pressburg reinforcements. 3 battles, none of them too big, but Hiller and Davout. This one was nasty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 6 rounds. But Davout took a lot of losses. There was a chance, about a 50-50 chance, I think, of a critical battle happening. Didn't happen. That would have helped the Austrians. But Hiller basically wiped Davout out. He's down to like 2 strength points. Likewise, though, Rosenberg here is down to like 5. Liechtenstein is down to a single cav strength point. You know, I mean, the Austrians are just getting clobbered across the board. Both armies are just tiny, though. I mean, I am very bloody-minded, it would seem. Winding up the 11th. Rosenberg not able to advance, and Napoleon's holding his position. Davout watches Hiller just sitting there and runs back. Feels a lot safer in Linz. Bessier, he's at the end of his supply line. I can't move until I shift things forward. How far can I shift them? That's a good question. I gotta keep Napoleon and Bessier in supply on the 2 sides of the river. I don't have a junction. Actually, 1, 2. You know what? Let me roll and make a move down here if I can. So Bessier has some troops with him. Not many, nobody does. 3, oh, actually he's the guy with a lot. 18, 21, 24. We may not be able to move very far. I can move 3 on a die roll. I'll hold. I roll on the 0 table and nothing bad happens. Next turn, there are reinforcement points coming. The Austrians get 5 infantry. The French get 13 infantry. Cav. Guard infantry, 6 guard infantry, and a guard cav. Now, I can use the guards as regular units, but I've taken some losses on the guards. So, I think I've gotten to this point in the game before. I seem to remember getting those and not having lost any guards and just been like, well, do I want to downgrade them or what's going on? But yeah, I got some room for some guard units, which makes me a little happier than I usually am. This is what mauling everything does. God. Yeah. End of June 13th, Davout swinging back up. Hey, here I come again. Revitalized, lots of those forces went into his hands. He can take some more still because we still got command from here, possibly even all the way over there. Hey, no, I can't do it yet. Positioning this here was kind of important because why? That enables us to get to Budweis in supply. I don't think we could get there from Passau. Yeah. So, and if I had swung this where I wanted it, it could get us about the same distance. So we kind of need that in order to get the advantage from Budweis. we are running out of time, but Napoleon broke Mouton off with like 1 strength point. The reason for that, close to my limit. He's got a cav. He can probably catch up if he needs to. Bessier and Lannes have run their way up here, blocking off where the Austrian headquarters was heading for. That puts Austria in kind of a difficult situation. I probably need to double it back or something, and it may just be too late. I was planning on trying to defend the Budweis area with Hiller. I don't think I can. I think I'm getting cut off, and what that means is then, oh gee, do I open the way to Vienna, or do I try to limp out of there with the force that he has, which might be able to get out of there, but I was planning on leaving just a residual force in the way and running him back, and that's why Riesheim is heading over to take command, because Hiller's got a better chance of getting out of places. That may be what I do anyway, a small force. But I don't know, if Davout's going to come at me, I got to get out of there. So yeah, we'll see. Nobody's got their command center active. And we go into 14-15. And that gives us another, hey, weather just starts getting better and better. We had a few rain turns, which, the rain is so weird in this. It's you can't get away from the enemy, but then he can't chase you very well either, which seems kind of weird, but I guess it indicates being able to sneak up on people easier and sneak away easier as well, because the pursuit is hindered, as well as evasion. 14th and 15th turn, nobody was able to use command points, and actually, let's see, Napoleon wasn't able to move, Davout wasn't able to move. Bessier up here, he's at the extent of the supply line, can't really do anything. I guess he could have gone and bopped that, but that doesn't really help much, so that moved on a little bit more. Roseberg managed to slip away. Hiller did not. And now we're on another turn. Now the French can pay some points to have things happen. 17th, Davout fights Hiller, beats him back. It's pretty obvious he's not going to be able to do anything. The command headquarters is still moving. I mean, it would be faster to just reposition it, but the thing is, I need it to stretch this rather than anything else to get supply back to Vienna. Charles falling back on Vienna right now. Napoleon chasing him. And that's about it. It was rain again. Gave Davout guaranteed hit on him, basically. With the French having the command post out, they can move. Let's see this. Yeah, that's as far as that goes. So we need this here to get us to Budweis. And we really do want to capture Budweis because right now, the Austrians have a pile of points available. Is that big a deal? Well, it's not so much that they can move. They don't have many pieces to move, so that's not the real factor here. It's the attrition value. When they do move, they're not, just dying on the march because they're getting supply out of here and out of here all the way over there. Now, Bessier could go charging up there and try to hunt that thing down. But he's at the limit of his supply line. Of course, there's different ways of getting there, but it's too far away at this point to really count on that. And it doesn't do much. It would throw these guys out of supply is the only issue. We're getting awfully close to the Pressburg reinforcements. Let's talk about how they work and how I interpret this. I thought that the French ones could be brought in earlier, but I don't think that's the case. The Austrian reinforcements show up here. The French ones become available later. These reinforcements can be brought in at any time after they become available. The first player to bring his in can bring them in only on the side of the Danube he controls. The Austrians currently control both sides of the Danube. The French haven't gotten there. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. 1610 belongs under control of the French. They actually own this. Interesting. Okay. The second player can bring his own on the other side of the Danube, regardless of who controls what. If one player controls both, the other sides cannot be delayed but enter immediately on the nearest road hex free of enemy zone of control in the direction of their center of operations. Well, that's not really clear. This is the center of the operations, so I don't want to count that many hexes. If the Austrian Pressburgs enter before 28th to 29th of June, Eugene can enter anywhere on the East Mappich. Now, Eugene doesn't have a lot, so that was the exception situation, and it's not that important. So Eugene has 2 strength points. And in fact, let's see. We're looking at 3, 7, 11, 12, 13, plus some cav, 16, 20, 24 for the French. And over here we're looking at 8 and 4, I think. It's hard to read, so 12. So the Austrians are not getting as much coming in either. And they don't have, well, the French have already deployed their reinforcements. The Austrians have not yet. They wanted to run as far as they can with Charles. If an opportunity had provided itself, they might have slapped down the reinforcements and launched an attack. I don't want to expend them here. And we're hoping we don't have to do a lot in terms of action point expenditure or movement that costs us supplies or anything like that, because there's not much there. We do have some forces that come in. We have these conditionals which show up when the French get near Vienna. What about that other French force? 1622 Marmont. Supposed to only come in the Wagram scenario. I don't know if, I mean, it doesn't say only, does it? You know, oh, I see. This is a special case on the Wagram scenario. Here, he comes in 30th to 1st of July. 30th of June, 1st of July. I hope that's where he is. It is. Yeah, so he shows up, I don't know, that says 4th or 5th of July, which is here. But it also, yeah, I think it comes in as part of the Pressburgs. And you just have, I guess, I don't know, a little bit earlier arrival for some reason when playing the non-Wagram scenario. I don't know why at all. Pushing into the 20th of June, Davout basically hit Hiller, drove him back, maintained contact. Hiller had basically a 1 in 6 chance to get away if he's leading his forces. He left on his own and left Riesheim behind, who got destroyed. Now the French are free. I don't really have to worry about Davout here. Now there's a strength point defending this, and let me see if I have to, if I have to actually take the city, or if Budweis, or the location, or if Budweis is enough. Somewhere is that rule. And I'm not sure. There we go. C1101 that is this hex, so I actually have to fight the strength point. So maybe I'm not quite free, but I think I'm close enough. One strength point I can wipe out. Although Davout is, getting weak here. 21st of June, Davout has finished this up and bounced back. Lefebvre went out, caught himself Hiller. Just overrunning him. So, trying to run him out on his own didn't do any good. I might have been able to save him if he had stayed with his force, but whatever. It was so unlikely to have to roll a 1, which we did not. Actually, I don't even know if it was possible. 2 to 5, 2 off. No, he couldn't have escaped either, so both were dead anyway. French forces not moving forward yet. I gotta wait. I could have zipped that up there and gotten a jump on things. I'm trying to preserve some strength points with Davout. They might come in handy. Might be pushing things a little close, but there's basically nothing holding me off from Vienna. I mean, Charles's remainder of his army and whatever comes in with Pressburg is there, but it's not enough. These two forces are much larger. Forgot I got another 15 strength points I can throw in there. Plus the reserves. Well, there may be a little bit of a fight there. I'm not counting on it being particularly impressive, though. I don't have forces to support him at all. So all of Napoleon's force can be brought to bear against that fortified location. And, yep. I guess that's about it. Here on the 22nd, the stage is set. French have their headquarters up here. Napoleon and Bessier in place. Davout force marching his butt off. Some cav pushing forward as well. Burning through APs. Charles has gathered his 25 strength points he's allowed to have stacked in the fortification. That gives him a 45. That's about as well as he can do at this point. I'm going to get additional forces, I think right away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not quite. Next turn we get them. And, honestly, if Vienna falls, game's over. If a critical battle happens and we get within range of Vienna and the French win a critical, game's over. So losing Hiller is the effect of that. There's really pretty much no chance for the Austrians here. They don't have any play. They've got to fight for Vienna and they've got to win it. And that looks hopeless. They just said, I thought I was going to be able to slip in and hit Charles, but Roseburg ran over to take those into play. I haven't done my reaction move for the French yet at the end of the turn. The appearance of O'Reilly's troops screwed that up because I was coming down these two roads. I wasn't able to get here with those guys there. I didn't have quite enough movement. So I'm holding off the attack right now. I won't have a chance to get closer. Let me just see if I can move any of the French that are in the back further up due to reaction movement. Anyway, the stage is set for this attack on Vienna, and at the same time, the Austrians are going to start getting their Pressburg reinforcements if they want them, which I think they do. Just before the Pressburg reinforcements can come in, Napoleon and Bessier gang up on Charles. I'm going to fight him. Rosenberg tried to get an initiative roll, whatever, to get into place. Force march with Davout to get him closer. We'll see. Yeah, this could be close to the end. I forgot about Lefebvre. Let's spend for him too. I don't know if he wants to run real hard. He's got fast horses. I'll just real fast horses, like cow. Not enough strength points to spend two action points on. One thing that I was thinking about as I finished up work for the day, it's so nice. It's light out and I'm done working. Yeah, it's getting later in the year. is light but rainy, too rainy to go out with blue hair, was that every time I'm playing kind of a big game and having any enjoyment or whatever, and it starts to wear down, long games, yeah, they tire me out. They tire everyone out to some extent, I think. But as I get close to the end, as the end's in sight, and it really is at this point, a victory, taking Vienna and it's over, right? I get this sort of burst of energy, even though everything's decided and everything. And I don't really get that when I'm playing opposed, but playing solo, it totally happens. Honestly, I don't get it at all when playing games opposed. A lot of the things that I kind of like about gaming go away when I'm playing with other people. The main thing that I like with playing with other people is the social aspect of it. Just being around people, even though I get grumpy. The problem with the French setup, they have only 50 strength points. And the Austrians, of course, the 45 limit, including the bonus, is that they're separated. So I can pick on one or the other of them by using the fortified town rules. At least the way I'm interpreting them. Again, not certain. That may provide me with a big bonus that may drive the French back a little. Other side, I don't get the defensive bonus for the thing. So I got to consider this because it's a 1-2 against Bassier. And 2, 4, 12, 22. I can get a 1-1 against Nappy. Neither one's in affecting terrain, so that's probably the best I can do. Or I could just let the French be the attackers each time. Again, that's my way of interpreting these rules. And I don't think it's supported by them particularly well, but it seems to be the only way to make it work. The rules, when I say it's not supported by them well, what I mean is the rules, any reading of the rules makes it difficult to accept what I'm saying, but it also, in my view, appears to be the only way to get reasonable results trying to twist these rules into something sensible. I don't know. I don't know if I want. See, I'm able to force a 1-2. No, a 1-1 attack in affecting terrain. Over here, that means on a 1 or a 2, the French win. Or a 1-1 on non-affecting, which means on a 1-3, the Austrians win the battle, a round of the battle. Not that that matters too much, because you kind of got to take these into account. So these 2 2s kind of don't count. So on a 1 or a 2 or a 5 or a 6, things happen. It looks worse for me to attack, so I think I'm going to pass and force the French to keep attacking. Players have to kind of consider what they want to do with the pursuit pitched battle chits. First 2 rounds we both played pitched, but Charles is getting kind of nervous here. If this just keeps going, the French will push him out. And that's kind of cool because, sieges in this era are not like at the beginning of the preceding century. They generally, an assault will take the city. There's not this settle down and start building entrenchments and everything. A little bit, but not to the degree. It's not the Vauban era. Now, if I pick a pursuit and lose a round of battle, which isn't very likely right now, but it happens. It happened on the second round. I'm out of there. On the other hand, if I don't pick pursuit, what happens? Well, the later rounds might force me out. I think I'm going to pick pitched with both sides still and just play it out. I don't think there's any real advantage to trying There's no real reason to think that I'm less likely to lose the battle now than I would be later in later rounds. And the French do push Charles out. It's a victory, but it's not a critical battle. The losses were approximately even. Yep. Charles's options ran out, and boom, he managed to lose another round of it. Well, now the Austrians have a real problem because they have to kind of, I think, in order to take any of these hexes, they're going to have to put themselves in there. And if they don't take those hexes, the French can take them, presumably. Rosenberg got displaced by the retreat. I don't think I have enough force to push Napoleon out. I could just position myself so that one of the Vienna hexes cannot be taken without fighting me again. That might be easier. Bessier advanced. He has 6, 13, and 6. I didn't want to advance Napoleon because that changes my flanking position. 13 and 6, that's 19. So he's at like 49. The only thing that I have as an advantage is because Napoleon didn't advance, there's no artillery in that space. So I can go in and get the slight advantage of the artillery hits. But if I'm pursued, it could be that I basically lose the game because the French would get the next chance then to move, to take the city, and to drop the morale down. It's a hard call. I'm probably outnumbered no matter what. Well, I'm definitely outnumbered no matter what. I don't have extra strength points. I can bring forces in. I think it's this one, but I'm not sure. I don't remember which one's which. No, it's up here. But they might be able to reach, which would be an appealing solution. Let's see if I can get them in there, because if I can do a combined attack, I might have enough strength to do this. No action points available. Remember the Budweis, and I didn't get a roll that gave me any, even though I'm on the same hex. This becomes very unlikely. Let's see if John and his troops can get down there. They're the first check. A 3. Hey, I get to move them. This is pretty exciting, actually. He has 8, 11, 12 strength points. Okay. So I will be taking possible hits. But I got to go 5 if I want to do this. And I got to hope for the best. Okay. Oh, a 5 puts me on this column. I roll a 3, and I'm down here. I lose 3 strength points. What are these things? It's the Army of Inner Austria. Okay. Just get rid of that. All right. Now we got to be careful because we got to actually run this way. So Rosenberg doesn't necessarily have to, but Charles does. So we'll check Charles. Charles gets to move. He doesn't have much either. 1, 2, 3, and 8 is 11. Again on the bad table. He's moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't do 6. Shit. God. Can't force march now. Okay. So I was down here. This is like 1. I'm sure he can do 1. Yep. Okay. And then we check Rosenberg. And we're probably going to get hammered here. Rosenberg won't be able to make it. Rosenberg's not able to make it. So now I'm left with the choice of attacking with either Charles or John. They must attack. But before I get to do that, the French get to react. And that could involve moving into here and forcing Charles. Well, Charles wouldn't be forced to do anything. Napoleon could run up with just like the artillery and enough strength to make things as bad as possible on the Austrians, though. Just attacked with the Pressburg guys. Now, no matter who attacks, they both have to retreat. And it's over, basically. Charles doesn't have the strength to deal with this. But I'll finish it out to the bloody end. I mean, there wasn't much hope for the Austrians at this point anyway. The battle, of course, went very, very poorly for Charles. And now my pursuit, I'm actually allowed to go 7 hexes. I don't have that many strength points, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I only sent Bessier. I could have sent more. That's 2, 6, 7. I guess that's enough. Oop, I cheated. Let's give my 2 back. Okay. Let's get rid of this infantry instead. Just to get it off my chart. Not that any of it matters. Okay, had I been able to destroy, and I would have almost been able to, Charles, it would have been worth a shot, but I could not possibly completely overrun him. So now we have a 5 on a 4 or less. It was a critical battle, and the French win the game outright. They do. And that's it. Bing, bing, bing. Well, like I said, it's a long game. First of all, obviously the game grew on me quite a bit. I blame Napoleon at Bay for making me happy enough to face this and kind of get a better feel for it and a little bit more happiness from it. Stonewall Jackson's Way as well kind of gave me a little bit of the, yeah, I can enjoy a game where I'm not just fighting all the time, where I'm not trying to blast my way through things. Although, with me, of course, I am. I still hold that things went very, very badly for me when I sent Charles out, that maybe I could have delayed the French long enough. I don't know. There's still a fair amount of time, you know, even given everything. But it's not like there's not, you know, some good terrain. I could have defended the Tron. I could have defended the Ybbs, the Inns. I could have done quite a bit to slow things down. And depending on how long bridges held and stuff like that, as long as I didn't give up too many of my men, I think the Austrians had a chance of drawing this out, at the very least so that they didn't fall off the chart, you know? I'm generally better on defense than offense, and that's not saying much, but it does probably, because the perceived wisdom is the Austrians can't win this. Well, they didn't, but I get the feeling that if I had played them better and played the French as badly as I did, whatever that means, and it mainly comes to, look, I have 70 action points here. You know, I'm obviously underusing a resource, right? But I like hoarding them. First of all, that attrition chart, damn. Keep it above 44 all the time, and you take a lot less losses from your fast moves. And that's a huge deal. What does that represent? I don't know, because to some extent, you know, capacity here to being able to give orders, yeah, it sort of matches supplies and logistical side of things, but it doesn't feel like giving orders. It really in and of itself eats up supplies. It feels like the movement at fast rates is what he eats up supplies. And I don't see any reason why leaders acting on their own initiative means that there will be less capacity to set up logistical train behind their forces. If anything, if they're wandering off where they're not being ordered to, that ought to break that. And that's kind of one thing that I don't like about this design in general. But what was it I was going to say? I don't know. Anyway, the simple fact that, you know, I'm really bad on attack, say, well, yeah, but I still am going to invariably make some terrible mistake on the defense, which kind of negates whatever advantage I have by being more defensively minded. Anyway, I had my fun out of it. Those of you who've continued watching, I hope you got some enjoyment too. I mean, it's not a system nor a game that I'm going to say, oh God, I love it. But it's, well, it's got a lot of good points too. All right, let's send this one up. We ended it a little early, 25th of June.